The last article for this podcast is an article that says, no woman should ever have to have maintenance sex with her husband. So what do you think about that? And this is by independent.uk.
I love the term. I just love the term.
They're trying to make that a
maintenance sex.
Yeah, they're
like,
trying
what
to
is that? Is that the sex in between the essential sex? Like, there's like a certain amount of sex that's essential.
Yeah.
And then we go everything in between that's just maintenance, or is just all sex maintenance sex?
I thought maintenance sex was when you watch your wife having sex with the maintenance guy. So the maintenance guy comes in to fix things.
He just rails her.
So I think my guess is they're going to be in this article like, hey, it is not our duty to fuck the maintenance guy while you watch.
Yeah. Don't make us do this emotional labor.
But they...
By the way, I love one thing I'm going to say I like about The Independent, which I have a gripe with so many of these articles, is I like that they put a picture of the person who writes the article.
I like to see that.
Because honestly,
too.
I really...
adds to the
50% of the time, we have these... not even every time. We have these articles and I go, I want to see a picture
You'd
of
love
who's
to see
writing
what they
this.
look like so you can finish.
Just so you have an idea of what you're...
Or
messing with.
maintenance sex can be when you get sex in return from fixing something.
No, because wouldn't you love
I'd
it?
be celibate.
Wouldn't you love it if you know, he goes, no woman should ever have maintenance sex with her husband, and it's a dude with just like Oakley's backwards hat. And you go, interesting. All right. A different article.
Yeah, he looks like Eminem.
Yeah, you know, he's like Eminem. He goes, no dude should ever have to have no woman should ever. And you go, okay, interesting take.
Yeah. Well, what they're saying is basically when girls have sex with a dude just because they have to, just to keep him happy. All of these like articles just don't ever understand that they refuse to. They can't look into anything other than like oppressor, oppressee.
Yeah.
Like everything to them is, it's kind of like a lot of the kids that are, they're like children that still, everything is their dad's fault. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It kind of is this thing where it's like, why can't I have more money? You know what I mean? It's like, well, yeah, whatever deal you make. Like if you are in a relationship with a guy and you're like, I never want to have sex with him. It's like, okay, well, is he completely fine with that? If not, then that might be a problem.
Sure.
It's like the idea that like you should never ever have to do anything. That's like, you could literally say that about anything. It's like men should never have to go to your friend's house but like, yeah, but sometimes you do things that you don't want to do in in any friendship or relationship. Or, you know what I mean?
Also,
why do I have to go to school, Mom?
Can a guy take this article to his like wife, who his wife is the one who's demanding sex?
No one should ever have to do anything ever.
Yes.
Yes. I mean, we've made that point before, but
I'm saying, like,
how many times
is she
have you
saying
never had
this
sex when you didn't want to?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
called church.
Yeah. They just bent you over.
It's called church, pal. No, but it's like,
Yeah. Initiation to the Taliban.
Every relationship I've ever been to, I've usually like it's a lot of times it's the opposite, where it's like it's the girl who is the one who's
Oh, she's with you though. I can't
Yeah, of
imagine.
course.
I mean, this is just
we're
talking about human men here.
I mean, I guess I'm putting down performances. Obviously, they gotta.
Oh, of course. They don't just
Maintenance
want
sex.
it; they crave it. It's
Go get that maintenance guy over here.
It's a sick addiction for Danny's chicks. It becomes all encompassing. She goes, I can't work. I can't sleep. You go, we had sex this morning. But that to me is like, all of this stuff is very, it's like, you're right. You shouldn't, if your relationship is 3 times a day, you having sex, when you didn't want to, yeah, it doesn't sound that fun. You might have some problems.
Yep.
But if like, you know, if I'm dating a chick, this is how I always feel. If I feel like I have to have sex when I was like really tired and you're doing stuff, like even like the smallest thing, tidied up a little bit, dinner, anything, any little thing, I go, yeah, but she did that.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know what? I'm tired, but yeah, but she did that. Mm-hmm. Anything. Literally, it could be, you know, organized, you know, whatever,
Yeah.
right? But if you're in a relationship and you go, this person is like, doesn't do anything. And then on top of that, they're like, pleasure me.
Slave, pleasure me. rings the bell, like literally
Yeah.
just in her bell, like Jabba the Hutt, just like ding, ding, ding. Ah, God.
Just a fat pig. That's so funny. I would love. Do you think there's any guys that like to be slaves where they just
Fuck yeah.
they're in the bed, they're pig of a wife's just in a bed, ding 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 ding.
Not a pig to them. She's a
And he
fucking
has to come
she's a
in.
queen to them.
He comes in. She goes, "What is this?" She goes, I asked you to come in here erect. I don't want to be part of the fluffing procedure.
No, it's the craziest is those. You see those photos on like Twitter and Instagram and stuff where it's like some guy in like the mall and he's like on a leash and is like some girl's just like walking him like a dog.
Yeah. That
And
guy
you're like,
once.
God damn it, that's.
Have you ever done a thing where you like watch like a porn or something like that, or like cruise like a Reddit with like hot chicks like to get jazzed up and then fuck your chick?
A cruiser Reddit? No.
Well, there's like, but sometimes honestly, that's been
I've
a move for me a little bit in the past where you just like, maybe I'm on the mood. Then you kind of look at a few things. You go, all right. Yeah, you kick in here.
Yeah. We just fired up the engines.
Yeah. It doesn't take much to get
we
this
got
flip
lift
switched.
off.
It's a lot of things are like that in life where you go, I don't want to go to the gym. Once you're at the gym, you go, that's fine.
I'm here now.
I'm glad I did it.
Yeah, what am I not going to work out?
The very idea of maintenance sex is based on the heteronormative idea of relationships where male sexuality is epitomized by a higher sex drive than women, where their impulses are beyond control. Also, it is kind of funny because you're like, well, if that wasn't the case, where on average men maybe wanted it a little more, then this wouldn't probably be a problem, would it?
Yeah.
It's like, why are there like, oh, girls have to have maintenance sex? It's like, well, why do you think that is?
I mean, first off, can we just get rid of this lie that men want sex more? I don't know
No.
where this started.
It is true. I've been over this. This is the case. Men do want sex more. It's just that girls are happier having sex with the same guy. So a lot of times guys are like, ugh.
I'm saying in a relationship or whatever, where it's like the guy is.
Guys need to clean the pipes out a little more than girls. Like if guys and girls both just nothing, no masturbation, no sex, no anything, the guy's a little more like,
he's chomping at the bit.
That's all they mean,
That's
right?
true, yeah.
So the guy's a little more like, Mm-hmm. So I think that's where that comes from. But I think that men are a pretty stubborn, where a lot of men will be like, you'll go on a sex drink.
Base Fauci, what do you think about this?
Base Fauci, like,
Base Fauci's like, I fuck my wife 7 times a day. She only gets it when I give it to her. All right.
Oh, okay, there you
That's
go.
cool.
Base Fauci, yeah.
Do you? What about sex before marriage? None of that.
None of that. Part of the So as you go, the model that they recently advised women to lie. The model Caprice Boré is what they're talking about. She was in this movie and stuff like that. And they go, she advised women to lie back and have 5 minutes of regular sex to keep relationships going, even when you are not in the mood. So that would be my favorite type
Just
of sex.
become a fleshlight.
They go,
just turn yourself into a living fleshlight.
well, my problem is this girl says she wants you to have sex for 5 minutes, even if you're not in the mood. I go, well, what about the fact that they should have sex for 5 minutes, even when you are in the mood? Patrice, you're almost there. Caprice, beret. Yeah, you're right. You're halfway there when you go, ladies, you just should have sex for 5 minutes. When you get we'll take it from here, Caprice. And then she said, women shouldn't say I'm tired or I have a headache, but instead take one for the team because it's between 5 and 10 minutes of your life. 10 minutes?
My word.
My word, Catrice. I'm like a pit stop crew. No, that she runs in.
Yeah.
I can operate sex. That our friend Paul has that joke where it's like anytime your girl, you go, she's in a hurry and you go, I'll make it quick. Go as quick as you can, because then she'll know next time you have sex. Like for if you have sex for 10 minutes, you go, well, that was for you.
Yeah.
Because you saw what I could do.
Yeah, you're like, I could do this in 45 seconds.
That's what the girl. I go, just come in here. She comes in there. I go, on your way. Get her out we get her out to work. Here she comes. You have sex with your wife like a pit stop crew. You roll her in on the dolly.
On the dolly. Go. Kick her out.
Off to work. She's like, what? What are you going? No, we gotta get it going. And then you click your timer. All right, boys.
Record time, boys. Keep it up.
Keep up the good work. Such advice is targeted always at women, but never at men. I mean, I think that's a lot of, there's no shortage of articles being like, men need to please their women. Can you believe this? Where they're saying that there's never any advice targeted at men to say that she needs 100 orgasms.
Yeah.
This reinforces the idea that women's sexuality or desire is never placed on par with that of a man's desire. Maybe in 1920.
I was going to say, I'm like, this sounds like so outdated. Like nobody is.
Yeah, she's responding to bullshit that doesn't exist now.
Yeah, you're literally like, yeah, you have the complaints of women in the 70s.
Yeah. This notion of women and men's sexuality and sex drive is an inherent biological difference, and that women's their whole argument is always like there's no differences. Period. It's like there are differences, obviously. They just depends how they manifest. Like, you know, if a girl gets into a groove where she wants it every day, and you're kind of like, yeah, and then you have a bad thing, or you want to get on the same page to some degree. And that women's role is to lie back and be passive, while men is the go-getters, is also seeped into our medical and biological textbooks. And it's like, if everyone is exactly the same, then you probably wouldn't have this problem. But they're saying like, well, no, the issue is it's because we were taught this stuff, which is kind of what I always say.
I mean, again, I've never heard of this term maintenance sex. We're both in our 30s. Neither of us have ever heard of this.
Well, they say the way that we are taught about fertilization sets up the idea that sperm is about the knight in shining armor. Did you remember that in school where they said the sperm is
the knight in shining armor?
Well, that's why when I'm having sex, if I'm about to finish, what I do is I always hum dun 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 boom 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 boom.
Indiana Jones.
Yeah, because I let her know that there's a hero.
The heroes. You're about to go on a hero's journey, baby. That was only 45 seconds.
But there's a hero lies in me. That's what I make her to sing that part.
Yeah.
Because there's the
right
sperm's the hero.
Right as you finish, you go, sing the song.
The song, she goes, there's a hero lies in me. I can't be your... We knew a guy in university named You Hero, and we'd always go, I can't be you hero, baby.
He goes, I'm going to go.
So they said, well, the egg is the damsel in distress. So I definitely wasn't taught that. But the imbalance in treatment with not enough discussion of female infertility and sexual arousal also creates the impression that male reproductive system is more complex and interesting. I mean, not to finish, it isn't. No. It's more complex. Who is taught that? And these people are so out of line.
That's the thing. It's like, it's just...
Here are the sections in textbooks in male sexual arousal since erection.
Yeah, because everybody fucking reads textbooks about sexual arousal instead of just figuring it out.
But there's almost no mention of the female sexual arousal. Well, obviously, because they're not teaching you sex, they're teaching how babies are made.
Does this chick live in Afghanistan or something? Like, is this like, she's like, this seems like something the Taliban would fucking print.
But even that one, there is also the other thing where she goes, well, there's no, they're not teaching us about female orgasms. It's like, well, because they're not teaching you about pleasuring during sex. They're teaching you about how babies are made.
Yeah, it's like reproduction. This is honestly seems like a Taliban thing.
And they're trying to say the male orgasm is discussed where the female orgasm isn't, even though it has been debunked that females aren't more likely to get pregnant when they have an orgasm. So they're trying to say, is that true?
I never even heard of that.
Because she's trying to say it's like real, that there is no value of transporting the sperm for when women are having orgasms. If anything, you'd think if the girls were having an orgasm, it would push the sperm out.
No, the reason why...
Maybe it's creating a river for them with all the stuff coming out.
With all the stuff. Maybe the way you're...
And the undertow. So what happens is girls squirt, and then the undertow brings...
I mean, in my personal experience, whenever you give it to them good and they start squirting everywhere, your cum's just getting shot back in your face. So it's like, at that point, I don't see how you could possibly have an orgasm. How could they have a kid when I'm just getting covered in my own cum?
Well, that's what you do. Danny does. He fucking comes in the girl and then makes her squirt.
Yeah, she goes, and I'm like... front row of a Gallagher show. Just like,
oh my God. Well, these ideas trap women into believing they should always have a lower sex drive than men. It also... What's your argument is that they should have a lower sex drive? Wouldn't it be the opposite? Where it's like, she's saying that like, we're trapped in this idea that we should have a lower sex drive. Also, our husbands want us to have sex too much. It also traps men into believing that sex is, for them, is devoid of intimacy. It's like, this is just... A lot of these are like, a girl's in a bad relationship. And then they write an article being like, I've been doing that joke about, I won't say it here, actually, it's going to come out in the special that I'm going to record, but there's this idea that people go, oh, you know how men do this? And it was like, no, this sounds like a guy.
Yeah.
You go, your specific situation where you go, yeah, I was dating a guy and he wanted me to have sex more than I want to. It's like, so men need to change that.
I mean, guys, we did a thing about a chick who was like wanted to leave a guy because he didn't want to have sex with her. It's like look, if you have a super high sex drive, you need your partner.
We literally did the opposite.
We did the opposite of this. You go, look, you need to match that up. Like you need to match up your political beliefs or whatever. Like that is just another thing that you have to be like on the same page about. I don't.
100%.